is the time. Today is the day of salvation. So if you are not praying, start praying now. You tap into the frequency of your blessings when you pray. And the reason is because your blessing is in heavenly places. Number 2, we were not ordained to beg. We were not ordained to look for favor. We were not ordained to suffer. And I will explain to you. The suffering of a believer is not hardship, it's persecution. If a man is going through hardship, that's not of God. It is his inability to deploy the resources of wisdom, hard work, intelligence that makes him go through hardship. The suffering of a believer is trials and persecution. They are two different things. So you were not ordained to suffer. You were not ordained to look for favor. You were not ordained to beg. Why? Because he made us kings and priests. Kings don't beg. So when a believer is begging, there is a problem. If a believer is running around looking for favor, there is a problem. By reason of his ordination, favor should look for him. Because he's a king. Have you seen a king who goes about before looking for who will help him? People come to his house with gifts. But what is the problem? The problem is that you only have power to command after you have prayed. That means your word will not have power and authority if you don't pray. In Mark 11, 22, 23, 24, Jesus said, have faith in God. He said, I tell you most assuredly, if you will speak to this mountain and say to it, be thou removed, and you do not doubt in your heart, you will have whatsoever you say. And he went further in verse 24, and he said, whatsoever ye desire, when thou prayest. Whatsoever. That means you are only permitted to command after you have prayed. There are many Christians wishing things. There are many Christians making commands that are falling to the ground. The reason is because what holds your command in the spirit is the prayer investment that you have put on the line. There are many believers that have no prayer investment. They are only talkers. The mountain will not move because whatsoever you desire, it is when you have prayed that you will command it. So he said, I have seen an abomination on the face of the earth, that princes are walking on foot while beggars are riding on horses. So the equation has been altered because of our prayerlessness. A man who is enthroned is the one struggling. Meanwhile, the son of the bondwoman is the one riding. What is the error? It is lack of prayerlessness. Your revelation, your rhema, and your principle will not work, because it is in prayer that God breathes on it. The breath of the Almighty. That's what makes the difference. But many don't pray. They think prayer is a religious thing. So when they come for prayer meeting, that's when they pray. Who told you that's how it works? Prayer meeting is the least time of prayer. The idea behind prayer meeting is, first, to allow corporate fellowship. Secondly, is to help us deal with issues that require corporate ranking. No prayer man is better from a prayer minister, from a prayer meeting. Not one. Every prayer man is trained and exercised on his personal altar. The fire on the altar must not be put out. Our generation is one that we flat prayer meeting. It's beautiful, but no prayer man rises from prayer meeting. At best, he will become a prayer leader. And when you come, you're leading prayer, you are sweating. Go to your bedroom and try it. That's when you will know your stature in prayer. Your stature in prayer is not in a prayer meeting. There may be one intercessor praying and is generating energy, and you are riding on the strength of that intercessor. When you go to your bedroom, you will need to find your wings in the spirit and ascend by the Spirit of God. That's when you know strong men. You can't identify strong men in the prayer meeting, because in the prayer meeting we are a team. But when you get to your altar, that's when you will know how many hours you can clock in the spirit. When you want to become a captain as a pilot, you will clock 10,000 hours in the air. A man who is a warrior in the spirit, there are hours that he will clock on the altar. And when you see that man, you can know, even from his voice, when you talk, you know a voice that has been engaging the spiritual realm. When you see a man who has been on the altar, there is an aroma that he carries. There's an aroma. When that man talks, he provokes hunger in people. When that man comes out, you can perceive it. There is an aroma men carry from the altar. But you see, we are a generation that can no longer produce the fragrances of the spirit because we don't know the way to the spirit. We know principles, we know theories, but our voices have no authority in the realm. When you come there, they don't know you. Meanwhile, there are certain men, they have troubled heaven so much with prayer that a point comes, they say, come. We are tired of hearing you knock. Come up. Come up hither. He said, I was in the eye called Patmos. This is a man of prayer. They tried to kill him. They tied him to chariots, rode him through the city. He couldn't die. They threw him into boiling oil. He couldn't die. They now say, okay, since you can't die, we will throw you to an island. There is no food there. There is no water there. And he laughed. I don't survive from earth. I survived from heaven. And when they threw him, he said, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. And I heard a sound as of a trumpet. And as I turned, I saw 7 golden lampstands. The man had moved from earth. His name is called John the Beloved. They thought they were throwing him to Patmos. They didn't know that anywhere the man was, he had the power to erect heaven. You can't kill such a man. If you take him to the wilderness will become a forest. From Patmos, he entered Zion. Why? He had troubled Zion so much, so they say, no, we are tired. Sometimes when we are knocking, we are in a meeting in heaven. So the only way to stop this, you're always knocking. Come and participate. Come and participate. I heard a story. Oh, there are some things you can't share. When you start sharing, they say it's heresy. They say it's heresy. I know every step of the way how God helped me. I'm not telling you theories. I know. There are people preaching better messages than what we are saying. What we are saying, it doesn't even edify some people. When they hear it, they are like, what is he saying? But you see, there is a room of trumpet in heaven. When that room opens to you, if you come down, you come down with a trumpet. Every time you talk, it's the alarm of Zion. That's what John had. The Bible said John didn't go to the city center. He went to the wilderness. And as he cried, repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. He said the whole of Jerusalem and Judea went to him. What was John's message? John was not pampering people. They came and said, you brood of vipers. How do you go to listen to a man who calls you a brood of viper? Because you have a trumpet from the spirit. Repent, and the whole city goes there. Meanwhile, you come. You are talking about the mystery of the virgin birth, the mystery of the angelic realm, all the mystery you are preaching. Nobody can hear you because you don't know where the trumpets of heaven are. Refuse to be a man of earth. Refuse. Refuse. Refuse to hear stories that other men share. Also hear it. Also see it. Also participate. I heard a story. Let me keep my stories. It will affect somebody. One of the Celtic fathers, they went to explore the mountains of Tibet. Archaeologists. And when they went to explore the mountain of Tibet, they found a man there who was like a baboon. Every hair on his body was as long as the length of his hand. And they thought they saw a beast. And when the man looked up, he began to talk to them. They thought it was a creature. And he told them no. He had been in that mountain for 400 years praying. In the place of prayer, something happened to him. His heart was changed from the heart of a man. And God said he won't die. And he has been praying there for 400 years. He lost track of time. Hope you know when you pray, something happens to you. You are exposed to the presence so much that he alters your atoms and molecular structure. That was why when Moses was praying, his body began to shine. There is no biochemical interpretation for the body to shine, but there was an alteration and re-engineering of his molecular structure. Moses' molecular structure was so altered that Moses crossed the boundary of death, and Moses could no longer die. When Moses violated God, God himself had to kill him, because the structure of the man had been changed. Meanwhile, there are Christians today dying of sicknesses and affliction. There is an exposure that you will expose yourself to the presence. It will kill everything that is of death in your system. And a point will come, even at the age of 70, you'll be walking and you'll be strong. The man of God was sharing yesterday, I think it was Daddy. At the age of 80, Paul was telling them to bring his parchments. He wants to read. Meanwhile, in our world today, at the age of 45, people are already using glasses, because we have not exposed ourselves to the presence of God enough. So the body is dying. The Bible said at 120, the strength of Moses was not reduced, neither his eyes abated. The guy was as strong as he was at the age of 40. It was Caleb that told Moses at the age of 80, my strength is as it was when I was 40. Give me this mountain, I will take it. How did this man become so strong? It's by exposing themselves to the presence. So every time they go there, they are renewed. The molecular structure is altered. They come out stronger than they ever were. It was Sadhu Savaraj that told the story of Sadhu Sundar Singh. Hunger wanted to kill him, and he went to Mount Kailash in India, and he was there. He prayed there for 500 years. God came and took his heart and said, you will not die. So the man doesn't live by blood. These are the wealth that we carry. What do you think that a Christian is expected to change his world? If all he has is the wisdom from the university, if all he has is the intelligence from his background, how can you be the light of the world? How can you be the salt of the earth? You must come to earth with something that is not of earth. The only way to enter there is prayer. Is it not pathetic that 2,000 of us will gather, we will declare something, it will still not happen? We will have a crusade, we say, it will not rain, it will not rain. The first day of the crusade, it will rain from morning till night. And then we come back to explain and say, it's because of, what was that? Meanwhile, one man, without preparation, he came to the Red Sea. Elijah wouldn't stop. He left 4 cities. Elisha was still following him. So he came to the Red Sea and he took his garment. The Red Sea that God parted for over 4 million people. What God did for 4 million people, he can do for one man, if he knows where to stand. Do you know that in this state, some people are enjoying the blessing that is equivalent to the blessing of the state? The guy took his mantle, he struck the water, and the water parted. And he walked over to the other side. What kind of men are those? What kind of men? They live the supernatural life as if it was normal. And the reason is because they've lived in the spirit for too long that the supernatural have become normal to them.